Start with our Srimad Bhagavatatla, Dashavataram. What is the first avataram?
Matsya.
What was it for? Succinct children, quicker.
Yeah, Matsya is to basically rescue the world from the great flood.
Not the world. The Vedas were taken and hidden under the ocean. The entire globe was taken, hidden under the ocean. So God had to incarnate as Matsya and rescue. Globe is one part of it. Vedas is the most important part of it. Veda means knowledge. So that means there was some evil. I don't know the name of all that. Who is the evil in each case? The evil stole knowledge, hid it away, stole the entire treasures of this earth, hid it away for personal gain. Evil wants to gain at the cost of entire rest of existence. So that was the one. Then what happens? Kurma. Kurma Avtaram
Is
again.
the turtle.
I won't go into the all details because
For
I won't be
the,
able to recall.
No, but
recollect.
Kurma is the Samudra Manthan. The
where all the wells
Suvarnabhumi, they
came
had
out.
to churn the ocean,
Yes.
churning of the ocean,
So-
and then the
So the evil
Hala
was,
Hala came out.
So the evil was on one side, wanting to take all the things, and good was on the other side. So all this is representations. Devas represent the good, and the asuras represent the evil. You can caricature in comics or etc. Evil is like this, good is like this. It has no difference. They are all same. Only thing is the nature is different.
You know, I had a very salient thought. You know, where they try to caricature some as bright and dark and all that. But if you look at Krishna, his uncle was Kamsa, who was a Rakshasa.
Exactly what I am saying.
Yes.
So, this is all human mind is caricaturing according to its own interpretation. So, Kurma was where the evil wanted to appropriate all the goodies, and God came as Kurma to help to salvage and give it to general humanity. Okay, Malsyam Kurmam Varaham.
Varaham is when the entire earth was slush, was
the
mud.
globe was
muck.
taken and put deep into the slush under the ocean. And Varaha,
Not under the ocean. The entire was like one swamp area.
Yeah. So
and he had to dig it out from the
yes.
muck.
So again, it is that the God had to come to recover and hand over all the things to the humanity. Malsyam Kurmam Varaham
Next is
Narasimha.
Narasimha.
Like that you go on. And today, what is evil? And what is it good? Today there is today means not 2022 AD, but right from last, say, 1,000 years or whatever, there has been a regular onslaught on anything good, anything pure. Anything
How long?
chaste.
You saying in what duration of time?
Maybe 1,000 years, 2,000 years.
Okay.
Because these 2,000 years are just a minuscule spot in the ocean of time. You have to bear in mind always that vast ocean of time which is envisaged in our Puranas. So, what happens? There was good civilization long standing, and for many years. No, we'll go next one. And then evil has come over to destroy the good. It has been going on and going on.
Mm.
It has been going on and going on. And good has been continuously attacked, assaulted, and to in some cases exterminated, or at least it has been mastered. You cannot expect the Kalki Avtara in the next year, next 50 years, 500 years.
Mm.
The time scales are too vast for us humans to wrap our heads around. But it is in the making. Evil goes on having ascendancy. That's what Bhagavan says. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Adharmasam abhyuttanam means it goes on increasing in strength and control, command. So that adharma is holding sway all over. As it increases and increases and increases, and dharma is glani, it means it wanes, it recedes, it reduces in ability and spread and all that. So a point in time when it is appropriate, tadatmanam sujamyaham, then I myself manifest myself. So this is the promise Bhagavan has made. Now this promise is still in the works. That is the question. They are inventive, they can find out, they can evolve very powerful weapons. So much so that God himself has to use all his powers to fight the evil. Don't you think God is so powerful and omnipotent? Then why should the evil become so powerful?
I have a different take on this, but I'll let you finish and then I'll.
Why should God have to exert himself so much to overcome the evil? He can just snap his fingers and the evil will be finished. But that is the way it is supposed to be. Very clever in technological progress, making machines for destruction of the highest power, and using that to get control over the entire earth. And they are fighting one against the other. Each side is fighting for the same objective, that is to get domination over entire humanity.
But right now
resources.
It's the Americans against the Chinese, so you can't say that.
No, whether it is the Americans or the Chinese or the Russians, each one is the same. It's only the
Yes,
label.
that's
and
my
the
point. So your
label
first
and the
statement is
cap
wrong. Your first
Let us
statement
not
is
go
wrong.
into argument. Let me make my statement. So, the Christian church since last 2000 years have been at it to get hold of everything, and we have seen it where they raided and plundered other civilizations just because they are different, and they took away everything from them. And recently it has come up, they have even tried to take away their culture, their values, their history, their beliefs, everything, and systematically to destroy them. Right now I was reading about the native Indians, how their children were taken away, put into schools.
Just a follow up, my rebuttal to our conversation
Go on.
is that if you look just at the past, you're going to blame a single entity.
Yeah.
But then you have to really expand your focus to a longer duration in the past, or look at the current happenings and foresee into what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
And that will give you an idea into the true reality of how things work.
Okay, go on.
And the way I see it, having studied or being a continuous student of what's happening in the world today, we are in a continuously ever-changing world. We live in interesting times, as the Chinese say.
Yeah.
There's a constant change in dynamic, and who was on top yesterday is not going to be on top tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you have to look at who is on top today and how they got on top, what they did to get on top, right?
Yeah.
And what are the ramifications and what are the repercussions of their actions.
Yeah.
So it is now a coming together of religion, philosophy and spirituality on one side, and a more pragmatic economics and sociological sciences on the other side, where economists, having studied the world, financial people having studied the world, not even historians have a myopic view, but people who are technical people, having studied the rise and fall of nations, have realized that there's a pattern, there's cycles in the universe. This is something in Hinduism we've been saying forever. It is one of the fundamental foundations of Hinduism, which is everything is cyclical. The universe is cyclical. Life is cyclical. This is the foundation of reincarnation, things like that. The soul is cyclical. Everything's cyclical. And so the rise and fall of nations is also a cycle. Right? A nation doesn't just rise and fall. There is only one arc, one half of a cycle. The rise and the fall. And then the nadir is the fall and the rise again. So there's this term they keep talking in the finance and economics circles of history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And that's because you have to I have to break it down, because I realize how I see the world is different from how other people see the world. And particularly poignant is that statement that history does not repeat itself, but it rhymes,